In the last year, the market has been flooded with AI tools promising to bypass detection algorithms and deliver a 100% human score. But there is a serious problem hidden in that promise. Almost all of these undetectable tools are engineered exclusively for SEO bloggers and volume-based digital marketers. To trick the detection software, these generic platforms employ a brute force tactic. They force the text into conversational, highly simplified phrasing to mimic casual human typing. That works perfectly for an internet article. But when a rigorous researcher feeds a complex methodology section or a detailed literature review into one of these tools, the results are disastrous. The software rips out precise scientific terminology and makes a PhD-level analysis read like a high school essay. Utilizing a tool built for blog post volume sabotages the foundational requirement of scholarly writing. It forces academics into an impossible position, making them choose between stealth and substance. Researchers operate under strict constraints that marketers do not face. A blogger doesn't lose a grant or get expelled if flagged by an algorithm. This chart evaluates tools on two non-negotiable variables: preserving academic rigor on the y-axis and detector evasion on the x-axis. Standard AI sits strictly in the top left. They generate dense text but completely fail at evading detectors. Generic stealth tools sit squarely in the bottom right. They easily bypass detectors but entirely destroy the scholarly tone, which leaves a glaring empty space right here. Academics desperately need a functional tool in the specific top right zone. Until researchers find a tool designed for that quadrant, the choice remains between institutional risk and professional degradation. To understand why generic AI breaks academic text, you have to look at the exact mechanical process it uses to achieve that human rating. It relies on a process called lexical simplification. The AI deliberately targets specialized jargon and sophisticated sentence structures, replacing them with colloquial, lower-level vocabulary. This causes massive frustration for researchers who speak English as a second language. Many rely on AI to help smooth out their translations, only to watch the tool delete their precise scientific terminology entirely. For postdocs and professors, it creates an immediate workflow bottleneck. A complex explanation of an experimental methodology gets instantly degraded into a casual, imprecise summary. The researchers then forced to manually intervene. They have to spend hours re-academicizing the output, fixing the vocabulary, repairing the tone, and bringing it back up to peer review standards. If an AI tool requires hours of manual rewriting just to sound professional, its core value proposition of saving you time is completely nullified. Submitting unhumanized drafts directly from a standard AI model introduces an entirely different, much sharper risk. Institutional detection software has advanced aggressively over the last 2 years. Platforms like Turnitin are deeply integrated into the submission pipelines of universities and publishers. For a time-poor PhD candidate, the stakes are incredibly high. A single false positive or an AI flag on a thesis can derail years of specifically funded, carefully monitored research. Academic integrity violations are severe. A flagged document doesn't just prompt a rewrite. It is a potentially career-ending event that triggers institutional reviews. True evasion in an academic setting means the AI must match the expected intellectual baseline of the author.
It cannot just scramble word order and inject slang. The standard evasion techniques used by marketers are incompatible with the strict risk profile of academia. This brings us to ThesisHuman.com. It is a specialized, engineered solution designed exclusively to occupy that empty top right quadrant of the matrix. ThesisHuman's underlying architecture avoids the lexical simplification used by marketing tools. It uses a process of structural coherence, analyzing the syntactic patterns of academic prose to maintain sentence complexity while shifting the underlying digital fingerprint. Because it replaces patterns rather than just simplifying words, it can weight the preservation of PhD-level terminology equally with its detector evasion capabilities. This specific engineering means it bypasses aggressive detectors like Turnitin seamlessly, keeping the high rigor markers that peer reviewers expect. This level of architectural specialization allows AI to function as a secure research partner rather than an academic liability. This table breaks down the direct, side-by-side comparison of the real-world trade-offs between generic tools and ThesisHuman. Looking at the target user, we see the split immediately: volume-driven marketers on one side and rigorous, precision-focused academics on the other. For vocabulary handling, the generic tool degrades phrasing to hide from algorithms, while ThesisHuman actively protects specialized jargon through its coherence engine. Both systems bypass detectors, but they achieve it through entirely different methods. Generic relies on simplification. ThesisHuman uses high-level structural patterns. Because ThesisHuman maintains the professional baseline, the post-editing requirement drops from hours of rewriting to minimal final checks. The only trade-off for an academic using ThesisHuman is the decision to rely on a hyper-specialized niche tool rather than a universally known generalist bot. Before you adopt any AI tool into your research workflow, you need a strict set of evaluation criteria to protect your work. This scorecard lays out the 3 non-negotiable requirements for an academic AI tool, prioritizing both institutional safety and professional tone. First, bypassing Turnitin. This is the absolute baseline for institutional safety, and by using structural coherence instead of word scrambling, ThesisHuman clears this hurdle. Second, keeping PhD vocabulary. As we've seen, ThesisHuman is the only tool that preserves exact scientific terminology throughout the humanization process. Third, preserving scholarly tone. Because the output requires minimal manual correction to meet peer review standards, ThesisHuman meets the final requirement for a researcher's workflow. Trade-offs are entirely relative to your profession. Compromising on your academic terminology just to beat a detection algorithm is an unacceptable exchange for a serious researcher. The decision path is clear. If you are writing casual marketing copy or blog posts, the generic stealth tools on the market are perfectly fine. But if you are writing peer-reviewed papers, lab reports, or dissertations, you require a tool engineered specifically for those rigorous academic demands. If you want the only undetectable AI actually built for researchers, you need to use ThesisHuman.com. We left the direct link down in the description, so go click it and level up your academic writing today. Taking immediate action secures your academic integrity, removes the anxiety of algorithmic detection, and eliminates hours of frustrating manual editing.